Hello and welcome back to Shakesyear. We are working on the second Maiden's tragedy, and we get to hear from Helvetius today in Act 2, Scene 1. Helvetius is the father of Lady, who is married to Gavinius and chose to be exiled with Gavinius rather than stay with the tyrant king. But Helvetius, even though he had been of some import in Gavinius's kingdom, he seems the sort that's just kind of gonna go where the power is. So right now he's kind of in the pocket of the tyrant king. So he's angry with Lady for choosing to go with Gavinius as opposed to taking the opportunity to marry the tyrant king and continue to be queen. So Lady let us know yesterday that in this banishment that has happened to she and Gavinius, they're just living in Gavinius' house and they still have access to each other because they've kind of befriended the guards, so they still get alone time, so it's not really that big of a deal. But then her father comes in and says to her that she's like stupid and ungrateful, and she's like, what makes you think that? And he says, think? You come too late if you seek there for me. I know it and see it. I'll sooner give my blessing to a drunkard whom the ridiculous power of wine makes humble, as foolish use makes thee, base-spirited girl, that canst not think above disgrace and beggary, when glory is set for thee and thy seed, advancement for thy father, beside joy, able to make a latter spring in me, in this my 80 summer, and renew me with a reversion yet of heat and youth. But the dejection of thy mind and spirit makes me, thy father, guilty of a fault that draws thy birth in question, and even wrongs thy mother in her ashes, being at peace with heaven and man. Had not her life and virtues been seals unto her faith, I should think thee now the work of some hired servant, some house tailor, and no part of my endeavor in thee. Had I neglected greatness, or not rather pursued almost to my eternal hazard, thou'dst ne'er been a lord's daughter. So he's very angry. Here is what we're getting at. He was like, I would rather bless a drunk man than bless you, because you only think about yourself and disgrace and poverty and all these sorts of things. Like, you were set up in this position that was great for you, great for any potential children. And then we get to the real crux of the matter. He's like, it was good for me. He's like, I'm 80 years old. I'm in my 80th year, 80, and this would be an opportunity for me to once again be relevant and useful and revered. He talks about a reversion yet of heat and youth. This is, the opportunity to work with the tyrant king and be a part of that court and respected in that court. He's like, this was a potential rebirth for me. So you, by choosing to stay with Gavinius instead of coming with me, have doomed me. And like, even your mother, God rest her soul, your mother's passed away, but she would be disappointed in you too. And he even goes on to say that if he didn't know that his wife had been so loving and faithful and great, that he would think that Lady wasn't even his child, that she was somebody else's child that he happened to raise. He's like, I debate whether or not I even want to call you my daughter at this point, because I'm so ashamed of your behavior. And she's like, if I was a shepherd's daughter, I would be happier than I am now. And he again lays into her with how ungrateful she is and what stupid decisions she's making, and couldn't she have done this to help herself and her children and her father? And she's going to have some thoughts on that, which we will get to hear in a monologue tomorrow. So I will see you then. Mwah.